we switched to English because now this is program 19. Since the corona started, I've been filming this with my friend Anders Lund. You know him?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're traveling. Now we're in Germany with my friend Wolf-Günter. And Wolf-Günter Thiel is an art historian and a friend. And we're gonna see his house, and we're gonna talk a little bit about his art project here. And while I'm gone these few weeks away from Denmark, I'm gonna interview different people. I'm very happy that you are with us. And
So I'm
tell
the
me,
first one here.
yeah,
Yeah, good.
first one on the trip.
Yeah,
Just let me start with a very easy question. What's wrong with art today?
I guess it's always the point of view from which you look at it. You know, for me everything's wrong, but for others it's perfect, depending on how you associate with the system. And what I personally don't like is to use the system surfing style in order to program what I do. I'd rather program myself and try to sell it. So the art system is always, right now it's most often around, so it's more like advertising or design, less than when we started to do art, we were kind of convinced that it was something genuine and something special, something modern in its.
Yeah, we met in the late, well, the 98, 90s, and then we've been working together in 20 years.
Yeah.
So because my question is also about exactly what you said, that when we started out, it really meant something. Art meant something, and there were institutions that guided people into what morally was interesting and what didn't work, and but today it seems like a completely mess, and there's no ups and downs. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, or don't we need art anymore? And what do you think?
The problem starts with the definition of what is art, and today you don't need to define it anymore. Everything can be art. When we started out, art had a certain meaning, which was coming from a modern timing. So we were still of the opinion that art made a difference if you do something than if you don't do something. And today it doesn't matter.
Difference in what sense?
Difference in the sense to improve our own life condition or the life condition of others, or a discourse or a topic, or contribute something to society which was not there yet.
So you would say Picasso changed stuff?
Of course.
How?
He invented Cubism, for example, which is a big invention in terms of how to see art and how to see images and how to put images together. Completely innovative, super innovative at the time. There was nothing like that. You remember then imagine you would come from a naturalistic, classical academy where you had to paint the people in the ways that is very naturalistic, and then he made this. He went to an Africa show, saw the African sculptures, was so inspired by them, and said, "Wow, I want to try it out." And then he tried it out, and it was a big art moment in modern times.
And now everybody does art, and everything is art, and there's no difference.
No, there is no difference anymore.
But you could say that's because we kind of reached a level where we don't need it anymore, because the democracies are strong, people are happy.
They're not strong at all. So right now they're extremely weak. That's our problem. But this is nothing to do with art. But the democracies now are in a big crisis. We don't know what you just have to see Trump. Trump is lying on television every day, and he's promoting Russian interests every day, and the democracy is not able to do anything about it. Nothing. He can do whatever he wants, and he does it. And nothing to do with art, not at all.
So so you don't think that the power of the people as such is an unused potential? You think if the people can get together, they can still have some kind of strong democratic power, or is it too late? Or
I don't know. It's just if you talk about people share a common interest, coming together and do something together, you have to think of China. In China, the People's Republic is doing exactly that, and they're very successful with that. They're just not democratic. Yeah. So of course you can do something with mainstream, but the mainstream maybe not the artistic version.
Did you stop going to galleries and did you stop going to art shows? What's?
Did I stop? I'm simply not. It was very funny when Berlin started to be fashionable. There was a German philosopher, and he was asked, "Why do all the people go to Berlin?" And he would say, "They are assuming that there is a sense to find in Berlin, and I don't assume to find a sense in gallery shows anymore." So.
But as I remember, in the late '90s, there was also a lot of investments from the government, the German government. There was a lot of money floating into Berlin. Everybody thought it would be great.
Yeah, and so it became great. It's just very different now. So if you look at Berlin today, and if you look at it 20 years ago, it's completely different. It's more. It becomes more like parts of London.
Is it us who have become old, or is it just us not adapting to the system because this feeling that art doesn't mean anything today, and it's just more like fashionable and it's more. Does it make you sad that it doesn't mean anything?
No, it doesn't mean anything to me, and therefore it doesn't make me sad. I'm not a lover of expressions. I'm a lover of things I can believe in. I don't believe in that, so I don't miss anything. I just find today I do other stuff. I do work with people. I do work with culture. I do work with history, with all kinds of topics, which are just making sense to me. I don't know whether it makes sense to anyone else, but for me it's interesting, and for many people it's
but when you started looking at art, when you were like 18, 20, 25 years old, and you saw your first Andy Warhol painting, or you saw your first Gerhard Richter painting, and you felt like exhilarated, true? You felt like there was something there.
Yeah.
What was this feeling?
Yeah, it was kind of a promise of a libertarian mindset, which I didn't find in my parents' home. Which I didn't find in a boarding school, and which I was hoping to find in the art world, like a freedom. It was always a freedom of expression for me, to express things I wanted to express, which I couldn't express before, because in the context where I was working or living or learning, there was not such a sense, not such a spirit. Spirit of freedom was not something that people were hoping for.
And after 20 years or 30 years looking at art, and this sense of freedom has kind of dissolved. You know all the tricks of the trade now. You've seen all the games, you've seen all the art, you've seen through it, and now it's over for you somehow. But is that because you have lived it through, or is it because the society has changed, or is it just us getting old? Is it us? Because if you look at young people today, they think art.
They don't care at all. Young people don't care at all. They care for games, or for all kinds of whatever comics or whatever world they are in. But who cares for art? And what is art in their case? What is it?
But you could argue that because we have succeeded as a society, we don't need social criticism. We don't need intellectual people going around telling us what to do. Now you can just go online and figure it out and sit in your garden drinking coffee.
And hoping that Boris Johnson tells the truth.
Yes. Show me what you're doing here. What is this house about?
This is my home. This is my house. Actually, it's not only mine, it's also of my wife. And a few years ago, we wanted to escape the city and go to the countryside, and we found this little house, which actually is not so little, but it's for us.
It's an old school, yeah?
Yeah, it's an old school house.
Do you have a church here?
Yeah, of course.
I think I can hear something.
Yes, yeah.
And here, this is the river that goes to
Berlin, right away.
It's called
to
Havel.
Havel, yeah.
And it's what is it, like 50 kilometers
No more.
to Berlin?
No, 70 kilometers to Berlin, but it's meandering, so it's a little longer.
Anyway, show me your house. You got new bricks.
Yeah, we got new bricks. It will be a floor.
So it's reused.
Yes. This is my cat.
This is your breakfast every day?
No, this is just for
You
gas.
live very well here.
Yeah.
Look, strawberries, ice cream, beer.
That's our. No.
Leave the cat alone.
Spielen, wie?
Leave the cat alone. What's he done?
I don't know, she's scared.
Oh, it's this. What's her name?
Lieselotte.
Lieselotte.
It's actually a very Prussian name. It's Elisabeth Charlotte.
Elisabeth Charlotte.
Yeah.
So all this old school, and you're in the process still of refurbishing it. And what's it going to be in the end?
It's going to be my home, and it's going to be mostly a place to work and to live, and maybe to host people, to show works. We have so much space that we can have a very nice showroom, series of showrooms, and we do that. We already started last year with an artist from Germany, and we will do that. We continue to do that. Yeah.
Wow.
It's to be very honest, this is a compilation of all kind of stuff. So it represents more or less a mindset which I have developed over many years, and maybe it's a very famous guy, and maybe it's a very unfamous film person. This is a young person. This is an older artist from Vienna, and it's all together. And it's like my theater of memory, because it always captivates a certain period of time in my life.
What do you mean a theater of memory? What is that?
The theater of memory was a technique in the Renaissance to memorize the world. People tried to memorize as much as they could.
Like the Library of Alexandria?
Yeah, but they were convinced that they could move the world by knowledge and by compiling knowledge in certain ways.
Is that what we're doing now with Google?
Yeah, it's like a theater of memory, yes. Yeah.
But where is the theater, and how come we have to, we don't get anything back?
The theater comes from the original idea of Giulio Camillo, because he had to put it together, and so he chose a theater, and he puts the seats as parts of his strategy and technique of memories. So that's where the wording comes from. But it's not about theater, but it's a. Like the Greek amphitheater. Like an amphitheater. But it's also there was a time in Baroque when we had the world theater. That was something else, that you would play the world. You would people couldn't travel, so they had to always see what's outside their radius, their horizon. Yeah. So they had to communicate that.
That's when I talk about my favorite artist, Caravaggio. I always tell people that those days they didn't have any big TV screens.
No.
They could only go. The lonely little peasant could go into the church, and he could see one painting, and he could look at it for hours. Yeah. That's why it's full of memory of sort of.
And it's even worse, because they wouldn't even have a copy, so they couldn't print it. There were only prints to very rich people in order to show them what was up. And then the rest would just be very, very depending on the moment they were in Maria del Popolo.
And then they think about it after they leave.
Then this image went with them. Yeah, it was very influential, completely different impact.
Yeah. And now it's just Control-P, print.
Yes, today you can, if you give in Caravaggio, you find 1 million hits.
Copies.
Yeah.
So this is actually a photograph from.
Yeah, this is a photograph from Christopher Doyle, shooting with Gus Van Sant, and it's always his strategy. The point was he was doing the photos just when the camera went off.
What does Gus Van Sant to do with this? Oh, he's the director.
The director, yeah. So the thing is that even this is a Danish actor, I guess.
Who's this?
What is I forgot his name, but this is Kirsten Dunst, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I forgot it. But the thing is that it's about the moment when the person steps out of his role, which he plays on the set, and gets back to his personal view. Yeah, his personal life. So it's out of it. Yeah.
And you got a lot of antiques here.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's part of what I like.
What is this? This is from. Is this the Chinese guy?
This is a sculpture from Yang Moyang. It's a sculpture about I forgot about a Medici, and actually we did a show at the Palazzo Medici Riccardi with these pieces, and this came back to me, so I have it here.
And it used to be an Italian rich person depicted here, and now he sanded away the face. What does that mean?
You know, the difference between Chinese and Western European thinking tradition is that in Italian, extremely in Italy, the sharp face had a very
short
powerful,
face.
No, sharp.
Like a sharp.
Sharp, like a sharpness. Yeah, like cut.
Clean cut.
Yeah, clean cuts. So this was an ideal of beauty in Western Europe, and the ideal of beauty in China is a different one. It's round.
Okay.
So people, until 20 years ago, they tried to be round, try to be big.
So it's not like in Chinese imperialism taking away Western culture. Now we're gonna sand that ugly face from Europe and make it into Chinese.
No, it's more like putting the head of a Medici into a mindset of a Chinese and find a form for that. Yeah.
So it's typical with my prejudice. I would say it's something hostile, but now it's actually very brotherly.
Yeah, it's basically the opposite. The Chinese way is Buddhistic, is much more friendly than any Christian.
Except in Hong Kong.
Except in Hong Kong.
Yeah, where they're beating up the people. Let's go upstairs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how old is this house, you think?
This house is from 1871. It's actually, the house was built after the whole city burned down. And the 1871 was when the Prussians won against the French.
Okay.
So the whole country was full of money. So in that time, all the insurance companies could spend more money. So all the houses which were built here are better than before, because they had more money inside. And so we.
Which war was that? The French and the Prussian?
French-Prussian War. It's 1871.
What are they fighting about? I mean, the French. What are they doing up here?
Yeah, no. They were not doing. They were not fighting here. They were fighting in around Strasbourg.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah,
so you keep your whole collection here?
I wouldn't call it a collection. It's more like a manifestation of my life through accessories and memories. A lot of these things have a certain meaning for me.
What is this about?
This is about a Palladio. It's a Palladio villa close to Venice. And the guy who did it was so fascinated by Palladio, and I did a catalog for him, and I got this painting.
We're going to see Palladio's villas next week. It's north of Venezia when we are passing by.
Right.
And the funny thing, because I studied the architecture, and Palladio is kind of one of the alphabet books of architecture, because it's completely square, and it has, funny enough, a disrespect for God, because it's not like a elongated property, but it's actually more subdued to geometry, which kind of is strange, because at the same time in the medievals, Pico della Mirandola, and there's a new movement going away from the church and thinking more about science in the Renaissance, and they almost got killed. This whole group of people, and it was a little bit scary what they did, because the Pope was very strong at that time, and if you take the energy away from the God and into science, you're fucked.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
I just invented this story right now. Oh! You have the masterpieces here.
I will come back and kill you, yes. Now you're back, fine. Yeah. So it's all these I don't, you know, I don't have these pieces because I collect them. I have them because they mean something to me and to my life. And so if I put them up, they're all representing a certain mindset, which is from another time.
It's very funny when you say it, because I remember when I was completely stuck in Berlin in the early 2000s, I didn't know how to conceptualize my ego and my footprint in the world, and because I was writing Hornsleth all over, and you are to blame for this box. You said, why don't you just put it like Starbucks or Gucci, or like simulating a brand. So this is the victim. He did it.
I'm the victim. I'm always a victim. That's why. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
This is also in violet, the big one. You saw the big one.
Yeah.
It's very good if you have a thief breaking in at night. You just go and then you.
Yeah. Then.
Wow.
It's like it's a library. It's the theater of memory is like a library you have, and you can look at it and you memorize certain things. So this is why I like art, because it reminds me of certain things.
But where do you see art from now, like 20 years from now? What do you guess? Where is it going? Are you still going to have art fairs? Are you going to have rich people drooling about auction prices? Are you going to have radical art? Are we going to have, you know, they just put out this film in Denmark where you and I were talking about when we were here filming about the that society had become more provocating than the artist. So there's no use for provocational art, because society has become much more absurd and crazy than any artist could be. What's your thoughts on that? Take your time.
Difficult to say. I mean, the biggest con artist is Donald Trump, and it's a big performance. Not good for the world, funny enough. But I'm just totally amazed by the fact that a country like that has a president like Donald Trump.
Mm. Somebody has to vote for him. How do they do it?
Whatever they do, I hope they don't do it again.
Yeah, but how did it happen? How did it? Is the media so strong?
No, it's a decadence. There is a certain decadence for a counter position which you want to put in charge in order to see what happens. So many intellectuals were saying, "Oh yeah, let him do it. We just see what he can do," and so it happened, and they underestimated the evilness of this guy, and he's just an asshole. He's nothing else. There's nothing nice about this guy. He's fat. He's stupid. He's an asshole. So people hopefully understood it by now, but. You know.
And do you think that art can promote ideas to activate people to think in other ways?
I think that art is first from the.
How can 100 million people be wrong if they voted for him?
Of course they can be wrong. I mean, in Germany, 80% people voted for Adolf Hitler. I mean, were they right? Hopefully not. Mm. Yeah. No.
Mostly women, though.
No, everyone voted for him. Mm. But the thing is that the question is, You know, the definition of art and the definition of art through time has always been a complicated, complex phenomenon. So many of the phenomena we call art today were never meant to be artistic.
Like what?
Like Caravaggio.
Oh.
He was never called an artist. He was a brilliant craftsman and a brilliant illustrator, and no one really was thinking of him as an artist.
But he had good ideas.
Yeah, this is interpretation of the 19th century. Okay. They were painting makers, and these paintings were extremely brilliant, well done, whatever.
Even that, if he took the local famous prostitute as the face of,
fantastic example.
Just to tease the rich people.
Yes. Of course, or they tease the discourse.
Yeah. So there is some kind of critique in there.
Yeah, but this is very, very specific to Caravaggio. If you see one of his promoters was Peter Paul Rubens, and he was not about that at all. So still he's a brilliant, phenomenal artist. It doesn't have to be the counterculture aspect. No. The counterculture aspect is a phenomenon of avant-gardism, which is actually started with something. It depends on what you call avant-garde, but it more or less started with.
But that's interesting when you say that, because I was always looking. We have to talk a little bit about me also, as usual. I feel like homeless in the art world for many reasons. But when you say painter maker, I feel like maybe we're back in the time where we just make art, we make paintings. I'm saying this because there was a radio program a few years ago in Denmark, and they were discussing one thing: is Hornsleth art or not? And this lady, art historian, she said it's not art. And then the nice program host was saying, then what is he then? And there was completely silence in the room. They couldn't know. And probably he's a painter maker. Painting maker. It makes objects that makes people happy and make them funny, and there's some artistic, like Woody Allen. There's a sense of humor there. There's some bone there now and then. There's some intellectual references. There's, why can't it all be a little more positive and funny and humorous?
I'm not thinking these description categories. I would think that art has no relevance except it means something to someone. And if it means something to someone, then this effect is artistic. But if it means something to one person, or to 10 person, or to 100 person, or 100,000, or 1 million, 100 million people, this is a big difference. So, but the artist is able to play with very small audiences as well as with huge audiences. So it depends on what what you call art matters to someone. If it matters to someone, fine. It has a meaning. It has a matter. If it doesn't matter to anyone, or if it doesn't matter at all, you just forget it. And this is also if it's called art or not, or if it's hanging in some kind of drug dealer's cabinet in Monaco, who cares? I mean, who cares? It's uninteresting for me. Not at all interesting.
So on one hand you say we should keep on going, and the other hand you say we have to accept that it cannot really change the democratic process.
Oh yeah, I think it can change the democratic process. I think that just what changes the democratic process is not necessarily called art. Yeah, Extinction Rebellion has a very actionistic program, but it is in its core idea of where it started was very artistic.
Let's finish up with talking a little bit about our new project, the Institute of Radical Humanism, and this is the head guru, and I'm this is the brain, and I'm Pinky, and we're going to change the world through this institution and have some fun and invite a lot of interesting people. Let's go to the garden and finish off. Yeah. Look at the beautiful view. So who do you imagine being in this Institute of Radical Humanism, and what is it really about? Oh yeah, we forgot the main room. Just this is going to be a little.
This is your story.
Hornsleth room,
This will be the Hornsleth room. The thing is, what I didn't know and what I found out through accident is that Matisse and this has something in common, which is very strange, which I never thought about, because the systematic racism in America just doesn't tell you that. This is from the modern and it's reproduction, but that is a black person dancing. And
Matisse is obviously far away from racism.
Completely off racism.
And the heart is red.
The heart is red, and he just sees this brilliant movement.
Let the Africans dance.
Yes, yeah, let them dance. Yes, yeah, that was related to that. Yeah. You see, these photos they mean something to me, and that's why they're here. They're not here because they mean something to someone, but they mean something to me because I was part of that story. And the dancing, lots of people dance was another story, but this all relates to my own mindset.
But once you're done here and people start coming here and you have your salons and your readings and your projects, you will share this feeling. It's not about you just keeping it to yourself, but there will be some kind of sharing of the art experience, no?
It's trying to show what I saw in my life and through metaphors, which represents these projects I was involved with. And this was a project I was involved with, and the house is a project I'm involved with. And there are certain research topics which I like. There are certain people in my life which have a certain influence.
So it's in a way your own little museum.
Yeah, it's my own. I wouldn't call it museum because it's not museum-like, but I would call it's my own little theater.
Mm.
Yeah. Actually, this is a Danish painter.
Yeah.
Aarhus. I don't remember the name, but it's a situation.
It's from Aarhus.
Aarhus, yeah.
The old city of Aarhus.
Yeah, and I liked it because it was very close to the setup here in former times. Yeah, Aarhus.
Same privileged white people taking advantage of the poor.
Yeah. And so all these things which are here have a certain, for example, the chairs coming from a show which we did in Berlin many years ago, and it was literally the first full recycled chair at the time. Today, everything is full recycled. Yeah. At the time, it was not. At the time, there was no recycled chair. So
sometimes the crazy artist is some years ahead of society.
Yeah, many
and
times.
And they show some. So when they hate us, we should give them time to accept us.
You know, yes, but you see, it's what I told you about the Stones. Sustainability. Everyone wants to live sustainable, but no one wants to work with the Stones because it's just hard work. Takes a lot of time.
What do you mean they don't want to work with the Stones?
No, everyone is talking about sustainability. But if you use stones from another house for your house now, and you put them in, this is most sustainable. But the work which the process starts with, is a long work. It's really hard work.
Yeah.
No one wants to do it.
We have this beautiful project in Denmark called the Sharing Farms. It's a company where you pay €200 a month, and then you're a member of this union. And there's one of my friends who started it, and they're buying up old farms to do organic greens for the third of the price at the supermarket. Really.
Yeah. It's a great idea.
The funny thing is, you have to go there once a month and work. Nobody goes. It's the same thing. They all want to be organic, but when it comes to not coming to football, or not going to your lunch or your tennis lessons, you kind of give it away to the big industries again.
Yeah, but we here we try to do it our own ways. That means we plant vegetables here. We buy meat at certain farms. We go there. And
do you accept that as a hard work?
Yeah, it's a hard work. It's a long way, whatever. But it's what we want. It's sustainable. It's healthy, and it's not industrial.
So this institute we're trying to start up, the Institute of Radical Humanism. What's the headline? What do you think? What should we write?
When you think of Greta Thunberg is a very good example, because this young woman started out as a strike person in Stockholm, and became one of the most influential opinion leaders in the world right now. And the radicality of her convinced people, and it didn't only convince her parents or her friends. It convinced Angela Merkel and whomever who is in charge, and it changed, and the discourse changed. So what I think is that the idea of a radical humanistic project has to be the radicality in front. So if you talk about help, you don't talk about help, but you help before you talk about help. You do it. You just help it. And it can be anything. Yeah,
but Greta Thunberg is a phenomena that grew out of nothing, of a belief. I don't think you can program it as now we have to behave in a certain way.
Yeah, it's very interesting you say it. I think she grew out of a need.
Yeah.
She grew out of a need, and this need we have in very many cases. For example, food. Go to a supermarket and look at the advertising, and then you see that the advertising is strongest about food which is not healthy, because if it's healthy, the advertising has not to be so strong. So you always have this. You have to de-link the phenomenon from the advertising, communication, whatever, public relation, and have to bring it back to the radical moment of help or of nutrition or whatever.
And that's a long battle.
I think it's a very long battle. It's probably not a win, but the thing is that the more people are convinced of your radicality. For example, I do a project here where I work with unemployed people, and I re-socialize them, which is very difficult, because they are not working for 10 years now. And meanwhile, we have 5 people who are working permanently, which started to appreciate certain work attitudes, and this is something which helps them quite a lot.
So you turn them into good Protestants again?
No, but I try to help them to get a certain life back, a certain life condition back, which makes them a lot more, let's say, chilling.
The homeless project, we're doing now. You know it. It's kind of in this field of placing the sentiments the right place, and trying to my sense of the radicalness of these projects is more like showing the ugly face of the world, and then try to make people say, oh, it can't be that bad, what's wrong here, by showing that you can sell homeless people as entertainment. It's kind of an opposite psychology.
you know, just what is the difference between what you do and Prince William does? Prince William has a big program for homeless people in Great Britain, and he does a lot of stuff for homeless people. So what is the difference between your project and theirs? The project is that you start with a radical approach. Prince William doesn't. He's a moderate person, so he starts with something moderate. And the people who are not interested at all, they think moderate is okay, it's not changing anything, so fine. But you start with a radical intervention which obviously sets on change, the different thing. And this radicality is interesting. And this radicality also motivates people to do more. And that is what it's all about.
And I think we can find a lot of projects like that. They don't even have to be members or anything. It should just be like a forum where people can discuss these crazy ideas. In the end of the day, you can go to sleep in your house every night and say, at least I did something.
You know, the new project I do here, it's very interesting. I pay every person who works for me €100 to help other people in a month. So they get paid from me, therefore that an elder lady who is not able to change a light bulb, to change the light bulb for her. And I'm doing that for 1 year. Yeah. And I expect that the people not only learn something in terms of what they work in, but also they learn something.
Who gets the €100?
The person who works, the unemployed person who
Oh, okay.
Who works.
And he goes to see that old
lady.
He
goes to see the old lady, and turns out.
How much do you get?
I don't get anything for that. Why? Why would I?
Because you're a capitalist.
No, I'm not a capitalist.
No, but I mean, how do you pay your rent?
I pay my rent.
But you get paid also.
I'm doing teaching jobs, so I'm teaching at academies, whatever. But you know, this is not my driving force. No. My driving force is not to educate people who are fairly well educated about something they don't really need.
No.
Yeah, I want to more try to improve our mindsets and our social sets in a way that is productive and helps people. It's a little bit, you know. It's always when I worked for an advertising agency in Hamburg many years ago, they wanted me to give a speech at the beginning, and so I gave the speech and I said, you know, my topic today is the Bergpredigt of Jesus Christ, and we just say
the
everywhere.
Mountain preach.
Yes, yeah. Wherever he puts God in, we put product in. And I did that for a while. And they were completely amazed because it all kind of came together about what they wanted to hear. It was all already there. You just change the word God through the word product and you have the whole manifesto there. And the thing is that it's also starting with a radical. The radicality is the metaphor. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you help this lady over there, or whether you do something in Africa or somewhere, as long as you do it. But the important thing is the radical invention.
So you think if we can get these people together in this idea forum, they can push each other and get even more ideas?
Yeah, they can learn from each other, they exchange experiences, and they can try to think what they can do together in order to improve.
Next time we meet, we talk about the other side of that. That is, you know, when you succeed and to make everybody happy, rich and well functioning, if you turn everything into Sweden here, that everybody's happy, you get a new kind of depression. Don't you think that there has to be some struggle in life to have some kind of fulfillment? If everybody just are happy on basic national income and nobody really have to work very hard anymore, don't you think people will be sad and depressed? If there's nothing to fight for? I'm just speculating here.
I don't think so. No. I don't. You know, the whole value system is made for the elites. The elite define what's valuable and what's not. And the problem is, if I don't agree to that, am I depressed because I don't have what Bill Gates has?
No, I mean, if you don't have to get up in the morning and you don't have to go to work and you just sit down, maybe you start drinking.
Yeah, but people like Bill Gates work like hell. They work 24 hours. Just because they have everything, they think they have a certain responsibility.
But that's the next time.
Yeah.
So far, so good. We start the program, and I know you're a busy man. You have to go back to your bricks.
To my breaks, I have to. Yeah.
Sure. That's the project for now. Anyway, thank you very much, and see you soon.
Yes.
I'm coming back to check your work, and see you in Copenhagen.
Yes.
For the first, what do you say? Like the first
Convention
of the Institute of Radical Humanism. Thank you very much.